There is growing fallout tonight after Trump's supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol building yesterday. We are live with the very latest and the calls to remove President Trump from office.
And as those calls grow, there are two options for removing a sitting president. We're going to go in depth on the 25th Amendment and the potential for a second impeachment.
Plus, the state faces criticism over how fast COVID vaccines are being administered, how many doses have been given so far, and why getting that information isn't so simple.
ABC 10 News at 6 starts now.
One day later, the White House has responded after President Trump's supporters stormed the Capitol building and sent lawmakers running for cover. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. It is a different atmosphere in our nation's capital tonight. We have team coverage on the fallout from yesterday. We begin with ABC's Andrew Dimbert, who is live for us tonight from Washington. Andrew.
And fallout really is the right word. Investigations are sure to follow, from congressional ones to law enforcement ones as well, to determine what exactly went wrong here and why it was so easy for this angry mob to storm the United States Capitol. And all the while, lawmakers are openly discussing ways to remove President Trump from office, even though he's only got about 2 weeks left in his presidency. After a night of lawlessness in the nation's capital, the White House finally responds.
To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay.
On Wednesday, what was supposed to be a purely ceremonial process, a joint session of Congress was marred by a violent pro-Trump mob who stormed the Capitol. Following President Trump's speech repeating his false claims of voter fraud, the violent extremists followed his instructions.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
The rioters, some described as domestic terrorists, breaching barricades with ease, even appearing to get help from and taking selfies with some Capitol police officers. President-elect Biden blasting Trump and the angry mob that seized the Capitol, but also the law enforcement response.
Don't dare call them protesters. They were a riotous mob.
The Trump fanatics confronting police inside the halls of Congress, some waving Confederate flags, one even making it to Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office. Vice President Pence and other lawmakers whisked away by security, others left hiding in closets and under desks.
It's wrong, and we've got to rebuild our nation.
The attempted takeover taking a deadly turn. 4 people died, 3 from medical emergencies, and 1 woman was shot and killed by police after she was allegedly part of the mob trying to force their way into the House chamber. Police also recovering 2 working pipe bombs at the Republican and Democratic Party headquarters, later safely detonating them. After the dust settled on one of democracy's darkest days, a bipartisan group of congressional leaders blaming one person for inciting the chaos: Donald Trump.
The president caused this. The president is unfit, and the president is unwell.
And now growing calls from leaders from both parties to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove Trump from office just 13 days before his term expires.
A very dangerous person who should not continue in office.
And sources tell ABC News that the president has discussed with some of his aides the possibility of granting himself a preemptive pardon, but it's unclear if he even has the authority to do so. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Andrew Dimbert for ABC 10 News.
Andrew, we are 13 days now away from Inauguration Day. What are you hearing about preparations to try and keep the peace on Inauguration Day and keep something like from what happened yesterday from happening again?
Right. So I can tell you that there is more fencing around the White House, and we are expecting an increased presence of law enforcement officers given what just happened 24 hours ago. By the way, President Trump delivered a video earlier this evening on Twitter where he condemned the violence and also said that he is going to be focusing on the peaceful transition of power. Steve, Kimberly?
Quite a pivot from his previous comments. All right, Andrew, thank you so much. Also tonight, a Santee city councilman is looking to clear his name tonight after false claims that he was in D.C. during the protest. Dustin Trotter says that he has been inundated with angry calls and emails all day. This after people on Facebook misidentified him in a video. Trotter tells our ABC 10 News that he never left San Diego, and fellow Santee city leaders can verify that.
Yesterday, for example, I had a meeting with the city manager at 10:30 in the city of Santee. I actually had lunch with the mayor at 11:30 yesterday.
One way I know that he wasn't involved is because he and I were having lunch yesterday when all that was going on.
One Facebook user who accused Trotter wrote to 10 News that as soon as they figured out the information was wrong, they deleted the comments and then posted a retraction.
We are learning more about the woman killed during the chaos at the Capitol. Ashli Babbitt lived here in San Diego with her husband and ran a local pool supply business. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala has more from her grandfather, who says he raised her for part of her life.
Ashli Babbitt's grandfather says she went here to El Capitan High School, then later enlisted in the military. He says she was passionate about a lot, especially the president.
She's my only granddaughter.
Tony Maziot choking back tears as he remembers his only granddaughter, Ashli Babbitt.
When she was growing up, we kind of took care of her, and then when she got old enough, she took care of me.
Maziot says Babbitt was passionate about a lot. Social media posts show she was a vocal and strong supporter of President Trump.
We got massive protests for Trump shutting the borders. No, we do not!
Ever since he was running for election, she went bananas over him.
Babbitt was part of the large group of protesters who stormed into the Capitol Wednesday. Capitol Police say she was shot by a Capitol Police employee as people were forcing their way toward the House chamber, where members of Congress were sheltering in place. She was taken to the hospital where she later died. The employee who shot Babbitt was placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of an investigation. Babbitt grew up in Lakeside and went to El Capitan High School, according to Maziot. She most recently lived in Ocean Beach with her husband and ran Fowler's Pool Service and Supply in Spring Valley. The Air Force confirms Babbitt served a total of 12 years in the Air Force Reserves, and Air National Guard. Maziot says his political views are neutral, and while he disagreed with some things Babbitt did, he supported her passion.
Well, we supported her passion. What can I say? You can't argue with her because she'd never win.
Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
Tonight at 7, you will hear from those who served with Babbitt in the military.
The chaos at the Capitol has sparked a new round of discussions about removing the president from office. Our ABC 10 News anchor Derek Stahl joins us from the Live Center to explain the two options that are available. Derek.
And a lot of people are wondering how it might all unfold and what exactly removal would take. Either option would have to involve something unprecedented.
Experts agree removing President Trump from office before his term expires in less than 2 weeks is very unlikely. But
after yesterday's events, anything's possible.
One idea supported by Democratic leaders and at least one Republican congressman is the 25th Amendment to the Constitution.
The reason we have the 25th Amendment is to take care of situations where the president is incapacitated.
The amendment was ratified in 1967 after the assassination of JFK to provide clearer instructions on when the vice president can step in and take over.
While it has never been used to formally kick a president out of office, presidents have used it from time to time, or it's been invoked when you go under the knife for surgery or for other reasons.
If Vice President Mike Pence and a majority of Trump's cabinet secretaries agreed that President Trump was unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, Pence could immediately take over. Trump could contest that, setting up a vote in Congress to settle things by a 2/3 majority. But some experts say the Democratic-controlled House could simply wait to hold that vote and run out the clock until after Joe Biden is sworn in.
Whether that's even going to work from a constitutional standpoint, it's a very interesting academic question. But I say it's an academic question because it's unlikely for, among other reasons, the vice president is the one who has to initiate this process.
The other avenue is the one we saw last year. Some Democrats have started circulating another round of articles of impeachment. The House could pass them with a simple majority. Then it would go to the Senate for a trial. No president has ever been impeached twice. It would take a 2/3 vote in the Republican-controlled Senate to actually remove Trump. But even if there were that kind of support, experts say time is the issue.
There is current debate, and it would have to be litigated, but it's certainly possible that the Senate could then conduct a trial with more time, with due deliberation, even after the president has left office.
UC San Diego political science chair Thad Kauser says the law is far from settled on whether a former president can be impeached, but he says once Democrats take control, they might have the incentive to try. If an official is impeached and convicted, they can never run for office again. Derek Stahl, ABC 10 News.
With 13 days until President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration, efforts are underway to make it safe and secure. You can follow the very latest developments with the ABC 10 News app.